This episode is brought to you by Kia's first three-row, all-electric SUV, the Kia EV9, with available all-wheel drive and seating for up to 7 adults, with 0 to 60 speed that thrills you 1 minute and available lounge seats that unwind you the next. Visit kia.com/EV9 to learn more. Ask your Kia dealer for availability. No system, no matter how advanced, can compensate for all driver error and or driving conditions. Always drive safely.
Hey, it's Kim Commando Today, your daily podcast to keep you up to date with all things digital and beyond. And I'd love to have you be a part of our podcast. You can make an appointment to speak with me. Just head over to commando.com, and on the top right, there's a button that says Email Kim. Fill that out, and that's it. Okay, I always like to start with something interesting. And let me ask you this question. When you look at a product's review over on Amazon, which do you think is better? A bunch of reviews and they're all 5 stars, or a bunch of reviews that when they average, they come out to a 4.7. Well, as it turns out, that product with the 4.7 star review is going to have better sales because, well, people find that more credible. So I just wanted you to keep that in mind if you're selling products online or when you're looking at reviews, that if every review is 5 stars, it's the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life in the universe. It just might be phony. It might be rigged. And this brings up another great point, that we all have these sightings of UFOs. And I can tell you the one reason why the aliens have never, ever visited us. It's because our solar system has received terrible reviews, horrible reviews. We only have 1 star. And on that happy note, welcome to the nation's largest and award-winning show. That's right, about all things digital. It's called The Kim Commando Show because, after all, I'm America's beloved digital goddess here with you once again. And you're about to get more tech smarts because every single thing now is a tech thing. And if you're a brand new listener, hey, welcome. We're so glad that you're here. And if you're a regular listener, welcome back. And you can find The Kim Commando Show on over 420 top stations throughout the United States. And of course, we're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Commando, with a K, of course. And you can find us as a podcast, as a webcast, 24/7 over at our website. That's getkim.com. Once again, that's getkim.com. And if you want to support our programming, make sure that you sign up for a membership over at getkim.com. It's just a few bucks a month. And you can also hear us on the American Forces Network Radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women in 175 countries and 200 ships at sea. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And if you're just too shy to come on a big-time show, I get that. You can drop me your question over on the website. It's the old school way. Head to commando.com. And in the top right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim, and I read every single note that you send me. All right, every single day, I go to the newswires. I visit 30 different websites to make sure that you're up to date on all things digital. And this is part of the show where I like to talk about what's happening in the news. And it was about a month ago, maybe more than that, I introduced all of you to ChatGPT. It's the first artificial intelligence powered search site that's free, and it's open to you and to me. And it's really the first challenger to Google, and how Google can really finally be dethroned. Because when you use ChatGPT for an online search, instead of showing you all these different websites and where your answer might be, we're going to call that the Google way, ChatGPT just gives you the answer right there on the page. And it reads like a human is actually talking to you. Well, now here comes mighty Microsoft with $10 billion. That's right. About a third of ChatGPT's value. And they want to team up. They've got the cash, the personnel, the marketing to take on Google. And if you haven't tried this ChatGPT yet, oh my gosh, do it while you're thinking about it. Go to openai.com and prepare to be amazed. Just ask it like, for example, like, who is Kim Commando? And you'll see that the answer is really on target. All right, number 2 on our list of 5 things that you need to know is number 2, look up in the sky. Where are the planes? What happened? Right now, more than 7,000 aircraft are flying under the FAA's air traffic control system, a system that is using, believe it or not, 40-year-old computers. Yes, and you thought that Windows XP was old. Well, since 2015, the FAA has been working to modernize this whole air traffic control system, and they're calling it ERAM, En Route Automation Modernization. Now, the full implementation is going to take place until 2029, but some of this hardware, as I mentioned, is really, really old. Well, this past week, a tech updated the system software that provides the last-minute critical safety information for all departing flights. A few line of codes. Oh, no, what happened? The manager said, we got to reboot. They reboot. It doesn't come back up for 90 minutes. All departing flights had stopped. They tried to use a backup, and guess what? Some of the files were corrupted. Ruh-roh, that's what happened. Number 3, wake up. Yeah, Seattle's public schools, they've filed a surprising lawsuit against YouTube, TikTok, Meta, claiming that social media has wrecked the mental health of their students. All right, school's right. A lawsuit isn't right. Of course, social media has negatively impacted everyone, kids and adults, many as young as 3. The lawsuit says that the social media algorithms cause anxiety, depression, eating disorders, cyberbullying, making it harder to educate the students. And they use the word purposefully, by the way. Now, keep in mind, social media is a legal product. So it's not really the school system going after social media. It's really like, where are the parents? Okay. You got to watch your kids. You got to see what they're doing on social media. I mean, if you let your kids sit there and gorge on fast food and all of a sudden they get obese, are you going to sue McDonald's or Burger King because you weren't watching your kids? Not so much. Number 4 on our list is more about kids, but what they're using instead of WebMD. What they're using is TikTok. That's right. A paper published this past month says how these Gen Zers are hanging out on TikTok, and the content creators on TikTok are talking about their health. And then these kids are watching the TikTokers talk about their health, and then suddenly the kids think they have autism, ADHD, asthma, blood disorder, depression, personality issues, they're bipolar, the list goes on and on. So speaking of parents and kids, just talk to your kids about how they're feeling, what's going on in their head, and remind them that a doctor went to medical school and these TikTokers probably didn't, and maybe they haven't been really diagnosed with this. Or better yet, use this analogy, especially because they're teenagers. What do pimples, okay, work with me on this. What do pimples and social media influencers have in common? Okay, all right. They both start off small, right? They randomly grow large, they explode, and then they leave a nasty scar until one day we forget that they were even there. And finally, this coming in at number 5, a cruel TikTok scam. As you wondering, what the heck is going on with humanity? Well, a woman in California, her husband died, and she went to an online support group, and then she started watching some TikTok videos, and her name is Joycelyn Cronin. And this is a horrible story, but I want you to know about it so you don't fall for this scam. Jocelyn lost her husband, John, in 2019. So she joined, as I said, a widowers community on TikTok. And she saw a TikTok post on a different way that she could maybe honor her husband and have his memory there at any given moment. But he was cremated. So there was this video that was showing how an artist created a person's face using their ashes. So she said, wow, this is really great. I would love to have a portrait of my husband using his ashes as memories, very special memory. So she reaches out to them and they say, yeah, you know what? This is great. Just go ahead and send us your husband's ashes and, make the payment $500 and then we'll send you the portrait back. Well, instead of getting the portrait back, she got an email from whoever this person was and says, we have seized your loved one's ashes and you're going to need to pay us $3,756 to get them back. Ransomware using ashes. Now, Jocelyn says, I am not paying these scammers, but they haven't stopped hounding her about it. But all she has left of his ashes is some of his ashes left in an urn and a few of his ashes in a necklace that she wears every single day. I just hope there's a special place in hell for those people. All right, coming up, we have some great tips that you don't want to miss, like, for example, some big changes at Airbnb you need to know about, and also how to get some Z's with the best podcasts and get some good sleep. And of course, we have all of your phone calls here on The Kim Komando Show. How'd you like to hear about how I saved $456 in just 5 minutes? I used an app called Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Can you remember all the free trials and all the other random subscriptions that you've signed up for? Of course you don't, and that's what they're banking on. I love that with Rocket Money, I can see all of my subscriptions in one place. Then if I see something I don't want, I just tap to cancel, and I never have to get on the phone with customer service. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has helped save its members an average of $720 a year, with over 500 million in canceled subscriptions. Stop wasting money on things that you just don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/Kim. That's rocketmoney.com/Kim. rocketmoney.com/Kim. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And if you have not already entered to win our $500 Amazon.com giveaway, you're missing out. Head over to Komando.com/win. That's Komando.com/win. And how about we start with Samantha in West Palm Beach, Florida. Hello there, Samantha.
I used to work at a former company where I was bullied. And as a result, I just wasn't happy there, so I quit and left. And I noticed a few weeks after I left that my phone has been hacked, as well as my devices, my social media account, emails, and I suspect that it's former colleagues that I used to work with. So, of course, I filed a police report, and they basically said there was really nothing they can do because, once I put myself out on social media, have access to my, information. So they suggested that I basically just, shut down my social media, change out my phone number, and whatnot. So
Sure.
I went ahead and did what they said. And on top of that, I scrubbed my laptop, put a VPN on my phone, as well as my other devices, have internet security on there, even changed out my router, my, modem. And yet I still suspect that they are still hacking into my devices. So I've done everything I can, and I'm not sure what additional stuff I need to do. So I'm reaching out for some assistance to kind of mitigate the situation.
Wait, this is really a nightmare scenario, huh? I mean, this is time draining, emotion draining, and
Yes.
why do you think they're doing this to you?
It had a lot to do with, when I was there, there was a situation that occurred and it got taken out of context, a comment I made. And, I, did my best to, reach out to HR about it, and, try to mitigate the situation. But,
What did you say? What was the comment that you made?
The comment that I made was basically it was a meeting, and our boss was asking us about, what was our favorite animal or dog for that instance. And I basically said to them, my favorite dog is a Shih Tzu because it's cute and small like me. And they, of course, took the comment out of context because at the time when I was saying it, I was directing it at somebody. And but of course, they were offended by it. And I totally apologized to the individual that I made that comment to. And yet it just ended up spiraling out of control.
Okay,
So
this seems pretty. I mean, this seems pretty lame, Sam.
it is.
I mean, for a group of adults who are probably
Mhm.
educated to say, we don't like that she likes a small, cute dog because she's small and cute, so we're gonna make her life a living hell. I mean,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
what? So what are they doing now?
So, like I said, I suspect that they have access to my devices. So, for instance, when I read my emails, I would read it, and it doesn't make sense because, again, they're targeting based on the comment that I made in that meeting.
So when
Yeah.
you say that the comments on social media, are they leaving like dog pictures around, or
Yeah,
what makes you
pretty
think that
much.
it's them?
The fact that, like you said, like if I would look at an ad, like for instance, if I'm like maybe scrolling through maybe Apple News, for instance, I'm just going to use them, and I am reading an article. As I'm reading the article, I'm just going to use an example for like an ad that I'm looking at. The ad looks misconfigured. It doesn't even look the same, and it's kind of odd to me because I would think like the ad would be proportioned properly, as I'm, reading the, article. So on that instance, I'm thinking, okay, I'm suspecting somebody has, gone into my, iCloud account. Another instance is where, I was like maybe going into one of my, something I would maybe follow. So, for instance, as
Hmm.
I'm like maybe
Sure.
typing in my email, and I would see totally different iCloud accounts, like how it auto populates, and I would see different, iCloud accounts that are not, I can't recognize. It's not one of them is not mine. So it's like those type of suspicions I have, like someone else is logging into my account, under a different, iCloud account,
Well, well,
or
well,
email.
yeah, but they're not. But if they're, you know, if somebody's typing in a different iCloud account, they're not getting into your account. Okay, they're logging in, and if nobody else has access to your computer, well, that's a red flag. So let's go through real quickly everything that you've done, and
Mhm.
then maybe we have some ideas afterwards. Okay, so
Okay.
you've canceled. So you've canceled. Have you gotten a new iCloud account?
Yes.
Okay, so you have a new iCloud account. You're not using the
Mhm.
same passwords. You have a
No.
new modem. You have a new
Yes.
router. Okay.
Yes.
Uh, did you get a new cell phone?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so you got a
And a
new
new
phone.
phone
Did you did
number.
and you got a new phone number? Okay.
Mhm.
And you've changed all the passwords to all your accounts.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
And you've changed the login password to your laptop, even though you have a new laptop. We're going to make sure we're not doing
Y-
all that.
yes.
You have new social media accounts that don't look or tied to anything that you had in the past, right? You
Yes.
know, Sam, I just want you to take a deep breath. And if you still feel that this may be happening, then you have to go to a higher authority than me. You have to go talk to somebody who may be in a different place in order to help you. But I can tell you from security standpoints, I think you've got yourself in a pretty good spot, and I wouldn't worry about it. Sam, thank you for your call. I have to tell you something. I get so many calls and questions about people who think that they're being hacked. And sometimes they are really being hacked, and sometimes they are really being tracked. But sometimes their mind is doing tricks. And I'd love to hear from a therapist or a counselor who can provide support and guidance with me for these people. And if you are such that person, just drop me a note on the website with some of your tips and also a way that I can get a hold of you. Hey, stay right where you are. We have more of your phone calls and more tips, tricks, and secrets you don't want to miss here on The Kim Commando Show. How'd you like to hear about how I saved $456 in just 5 minutes? I used an app called Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Can you remember all the free trials and all the other random subscriptions that you've signed up for? Of course you don't, and that's what they're banking on. I love that with Rocket Money, I can see all of my subscriptions in one place. Then if I see something I don't want, I just tap to cancel, and I never have to get on the phone with customer service. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has helped save its members an average of $720 a year, with over 500 million in canceled subscriptions. Stop wasting money on things that you just don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/Kim. That's rocketmoney.com/Kim. rocketmoney.com/Kim. Okay, we have a tip coming up in just a few moments. It's all about signs that your phone or computer is infected with a keylogger. And let's see, back to the phones we go with Colleen in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, I'm just super psyched to talk to you. I've been listening to you for
years and years and years, and I'm a fan, and I'm nervous and excited to talk to
Oh,
you.
okay. Don't be nervous. Just pretend it's just you and me and
Okay.
6 million other people listening. That's all.
Sounds good. Okay, so I have two young adult children who have created organic, large followings on social media. One is a wildlife photographer, and the other is a musician, surfer, hair care type
Hmm.
stuff, and they have a huge following. Um, in TikTok, my son is up to 1.5 million followers. My daughter up to 88.4 thousand, and then on Instagram, my son 231,000. My daughter is increasing as we speak, but she's at 5,921.
Okay,
Um,
she's starting
they
out.
have they have a lot of engagement, a lot of commenting, and my son in particular, the the following has created more traffic on his website, and he sells a lot of his prints
Okay,
as a
let me
result.
tell you, I've looked at your kids' accounts because you sent me an email.
Yeah, thank you.
You're okay. Number one, your son looks like Casey from Yellowstone. It's
That's another thing
strikingly,
that has gained him a lot of popularity. Yeah, it's
yeah.
pretty
He needs
crazy.
to. Yeah. I mean, he needs to say, "Here I am in Yellowstone, and here are the bison." Okay, that you see on the show, and then your daughter. Oh my gosh, her hair is amazing. It
Oh,
is.
thank you, thank you. Yeah,
And
it's beautiful.
she's beautiful. You can tell she's beautiful inside and out when you
She
listen to
she
her
is.
videos. She's very cute. Well, congrats to you on being a great mom. And now you're trying to figure out how to take them to the next level on social, right?
Well, a lot of people have told us that they should be making a lot of passive income on this because of their following, and that's not happening. And we're not a real technologically savvy family, so just wondering if you have any tips on that.
Okay, well, a couple of things is number one, you mentioned TikTok. With TikTok, there are some ways that they can just apply to be to be a creator on TikTok, and we're going to send you a link to that. And there are some requirements, like you have to have at least 10,000 followers, which we have, and then at least 100,000 video views in the last 30 days, which they have. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so that's just a gimme that we're just going to go ahead and do that. The next
Okay.
step is that many influencers in their bio, they'll say, open for sponsorship opportunities. And so
Mm-hmm.
maybe with your son, some of these posts that are in Wyoming or whatever it may be, is that we could have sponsored posts. And that's where brands will pay to have their products featured in front of your son or daughter's audience. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's going to be a unique promo code, a link, and they're going to have to the advertising companies will track the success of the campaigns. Another
Mm-hmm.
thing that some influencers do it's affiliate marketing. So let's say your daughter has a line of hair care products that she likes on Amazon. Is that she can
Mm-hmm.
just create herself an Amazon account, use those affiliate links, and then anytime somebody buys something on Amazon, she'll get some money back. There's also brand deals, collaborations, and this is where they host events. Maybe your son might want to host a Nikon wildlife photography party or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and create custom content that is part of a brand deal or collaboration. Merch is so big with these influencers. Matter of fact, my son is a goes to USC and he was wearing a green sweatshirt. I was FaceTiming last night and I said, wow, that's a really great sweatshirt you have on. He goes, oh yeah, I bought it from some YouTube dude. Okay, he bought it from
Mm-hmm.
some YouTube dude. And I said, well, how much was the sweatshirt? He's like, oh, $45. Okay. You and I
Mm-hmm.
both know that that sweatshirt probably cost that YouTube dude about $8. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But so he's selling it through YouTube, which, if the kids are not already on YouTube, I would encourage them to make sure that there's also have YouTube channels. I know they like to hang out on TikTok, but let's make sure that we have all the social covered.
Yeah,
They can have,
I didn't send you their YouTube. My son is at 6.8 thousand subscribers, but that they haven't given a lot of attention to YouTube. Yeah, but
Yeah,
they need
because you
to.
know
Yeah.
what? They're focused on TikTok. But whatever they put on TikTok, just have them shoot it over to YouTube. That's all. It's that easy.
Mm,
But
yeah.
with the merch, they have, like I mentioned, clothing. There's beauty products, makeup products. There's ebooks. There's courses. And then another way that they can make some money is by saying that I can consult you on how to make your own YouTube or TikTok account with 1 million followers.
Mm,
And
mm,
so they could be some different coaches. But just remember that the influencers, they get paid on metrics, and everything now is trackable. And the metrics are reach, engagement, and conversions. That's reach. You just
mm,
have to remember that reach, engagement, and conversion. So how many people are we reaching? How many people are we engaging? But the real key is the ROI. How many conversions are we getting? Okay.
mm,
So so there's a whole business behind all this. But again, in their bio, they can say, open for branding deals or whatever it may be. Have them look and see the bigger ones, what they have in their bio, and
mm-hmm,
or a couple of lines. Now, just keep in mind, I'd warn them both that when you put that, the scammers come out of the woodwork. And
mm,
so whatever they get, you always have to make sure, tell them you're not paying money to make money. And
mm-hmm,
maybe just in the beginning, you just kind of, Colleen, you just take a look at everything, just be the sanity check.
mm-hmm.
And because you've got more life experience, you don't have to have tech experience. I'm talking about life experience.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
and you've been around long enough that if your gut tells you that it's no good, it's probably no good. And if you have any questions about whether or not it's legit, just keep in mind you can always give me a call back. And Colleen, tell the kids I said hello. Tell them to hey, hello, tag me once in a while. I would appreciate that, and that would be pretty sweet. Colleen, once again, thanks for your call and your kind words, and for listening through the show and trusting me with some advice for your own kids. Okay, here's a joke you can tell your favorite nerd friends. Okay, you ready? How can you tell the difference between an influencer on social media and a computer tech? Okay. How can you tell the difference between a social media influencer and a computer tech? Ask them to pronounce the word BIOS. That's right. Just ask them. Ask them to pronounce that word BIOS. All right, hackers and scammers are a constant threat. We hear about it. And these keyloggers, programs that record every single thing that you do. Employers are using them to monitor worker activity. Parents are using them to keep tabs on their kids. But crooks and maybe stalkers and hackers are using them to steal from you. So how do you know if they're really there? Okay, keyloggers can be hard to find, but most antivirus programs will pick them up. But some keyloggers are being updated with all new ways to outsmart detection. You may have to do a little digging. And so you might start looking and searching for your computer for names like Refog or SpyTech or Revealer, Artimax, WinSpy, Spyrix, Danusoft. Okay, don't worry if you missed any of those names. I'm going to tell you exactly where you can get the entire list. And then we're going to walk you through, if you do find them, how to remove these programs on your Mac and also on your PC. But what about your phone? Okay. Is your phone running slow? Is it running hot? Is the battery draining faster than usual? Maybe you start seeing some apps that you don't know where they came from. Well, it could be signs that you have a keylogger, you have some malware on your phone. Another sign is that if your phone is start using some high data usage, something suspicious may be going in the background, maybe some unexplained charges on your bills and some pop-up ads. So we're going to tell you how to look for those as well as to remove those type of apps on your Android and phone. But on your Android and your iPhone rather. But you want to avoid the problem before it even begins. Always keep your devices up to date. Be careful of opening any links, clicking on any ads, because some of these links might actually be secretly installing a keylogger on your system. Use two-factor authentication. Only download apps from official stores like Google Play and the Apple Store. And really just be very, very careful. If you get anything on your system, any email, whatever it may be, I want you to always remember our mantra. Okay? It's our mantra here. We came up with it on the Kim Commando Show. I want you to stop and think. Don't click that link. I want you to remember this at all times when you get something that is unexpected. You don't know where it came from. It looks legit, but maybe it's not. I just want you to don't go so fast. I want you to stop and think and don't click that link. All right, for more information about this, as well as all the steps, a list of the programs that I mentioned, just head over to commando.com, and there on the homepage, there's a link that says Kim Show, and that's where you find all those direct links. All right, you want to stay right where you are because we have more of your great phone calls, as well as a tip that has to do with men and putting your phone in your pocket. Why that is just a really, really bad idea in today's times. And of course, you have more of me. You wouldn't want to miss that. Kim Commando. How'd you like to hear about how I saved $456 in just 5 minutes? I used an app called Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Can you remember all the free trials and all the other random subscriptions that you've signed up for? Of course you don't, and that's what they're banking on. I love that with Rocket Money, I can see all of my subscriptions in one place. Then if I see something I don't want, I just tap to cancel, and I never have to get on the phone with customer service. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has helped save its members an average of $720 a year, with over 500 million in canceled subscriptions. Stop wasting money on things that you just don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/Kim. That's rocketmoney.com/Kim. rocketmoney.com/Kim. Hey, just a quick reminder that if you're not getting the Kim Commando podcasts, what are you waiting for? Come on. You get Kim Commando Today is our Monday through Friday podcast. But I will tell you, Friday's a little bit different on the Kim Commando Today podcast. Friday is when, we take I guess you'd say an irreverent look at technology. And Allie's on board as well as Matt. And we talk about what's happening on the internet. And we have our What the Heck headline of the week, our trivia, some tips and some news. And again, that's Kim Commando Today, Monday through Friday. Wherever you get your podcast, just search for Commando with a K, of course. Yes, that's Komando. All right, Philip in Chancellor, Alabama. Hi there, Philip.
Okay, so I recently had to get a new TV, and I bought a Hisense. It's a Chinese brand, Chinese built. And with all the recent security concerns, do I need to be concerned about hooking this up to my network? And if so, what kind of precautions do I need to take?
Very good question, Philip. You get a gold star today. Okay.
Yay! Head of the class.
Yay. These Internet of Things, there's really no security standards, so to speak. And I'm not just talking about smart TVs. I'm talking about cameras and light switches and everything else under the sun, sprinklers, even the smart crock pots and refrigerators and washers and dryers and things like that. And I'm all for a smart home, but I want you to put them all on a guest network so that this way your Internet of Things, your smart TV, doesn't have access to your main network that may have access to, say, where you do all your banking, for example. Also on the TV is that you may have something called remote management, and that would allow you to manage your TV remotely. So I would turn that off so that this way nobody can go into the network through your television. I know somebody's listening right now going, Kim, it's a TV. I know, but it's a computer. That's all it is. Your TV is just a computer now. And believe it or not, you can put a VPN on your TV. And so since it's a smart TV, and so you can put a VPN, it will encrypt the internet connection and protect your privacy while you're using the smart TV. And finally, just be careful about third-party apps that you put on the TV. And if there's some built-in Hisense apps, maybe you don't use those. You download Netflix and wherever from the Google Play Store or what have you. And and another thing that a lot of people are doing, even with their their streaming accounts, is they're setting up a separate username and password, separate email address and password for all the streaming accounts that's not tied to their primary email account. And so, like, for example, if you have a Gmail account, let's say you're the best looking guy named Philip ever in Alabama at gmail.com. Okay. And so with your Netflix account, it would be the best looking guy named Philip from Alabama. And then you put a plus Netflix. And then at Gmail, because anything after that plus sign is that Google ignores. So this way you have separate email addresses for all your accounts, but it's still going to your primary. And if you're not using Gmail, there's always ways to do it on the other one. So, secure your wireless network, put it on a guest network, disable the remote management, put on a VPN if you'd like, and make sure that you update the firmware too. A lot of people don't realize that when they get a brand new TV. And Philip, once again, thank you for your call. Just having a guest network is a darn good idea, really, because it can actually, as I mentioned, help separate devices from the main network and to this whole Internet of Things that doesn't have any security standards. It also lets you set a bandwidth management. So you could have two networks, and maybe if it was a guest network just for people who are visiting, you can only allocate a certain amount of bandwidth to them. And then really there's the whole convenience factor. So let's say you have guests come over. Well, there's a couple of ways you could let them know about your Wi-Fi network name and password. You can always I love this, you create a QR code. Go to QR Code Monkey and then just type in your network name and password, and then you put a QR code on the refrigerator or what have you, and then guests can just use their phone and then sign right into the network. They don't need to tell them anything, they just put their phone up there. But in addition to that, if you had a guest network and you didn't want to give away a QR code or anything like that or make it, is that it makes it really easy for a guest to connect to the internet with them not having to ask you, what's the password to your Wi-Fi network? And you're like, I don't really know what that is. I haven't had to enter that in a long time. All right, so make that QR code or just put it on a guest network. Okay, if you're a young man who someday wants a family or perhaps expand the family that you have, there's a new danger from your smartphone I need to pass along. Researchers in South Korea, where many of the world's smartphones are made, they've discovered that low-level radio frequency electromagnetic radiation that the phone constantly emits, even when you're not talking, even when you're not texting, can damage your brain, your heart, and your endocrine system, which is why I'm an advocate of never putting the phone right up to your ear. Now, for young men who are putting their phones in their pockets, research confirms that there's a definite link between cell phone use and decrease in sperm mobility, viability, and concentration. So the issue is how and where you're carrying your phone. Holding it in your hand is convenient, carrying in your pocket, even your back pocket, though, can cause some damage. Hey, don't keep all this tech know-how a secret. Tell 3 friends about this show because every single thing is now a tech thing, and you can find me 24/7 over at commando.com.